welcome to my channel. I'm Fornax, and today I'm interviewing Roy, a dedicated Guild v Guild and World v World Twitch streamer, shoutcaster and commander. If you have any questions for Roy, please pop them in the comments section below. There will be a pinned comment down there too, linking to his Twitch stream, as well as links to content creators we chat about in the interview. The video running over our conversation is from his Twitch stream, so thank you very much for Roy for allowing me to use his footage here. Sadly, the audio is not perfect at my end. There are a few clicks and pops, so I hope they don't spoil your enjoyment of the interview too much. I'm working on making it better, so thanks for understanding. Thank you for volunteering to be interviewed on the Herald. Please introduce yourself.
Hello, my name is Roy. And I've played Guild Wars 2 since release. I played Guild Wars 1 as well for about 5 to 6 years. And I am mostly invested in the World vs. World and the GVG community, but I also play PvP a fair amount, and I've also PvE'd for quite some time as well.
Oh, well this is unusual because most of our World v World and PvP guys kind of poo-poo all over the PvE business.
Yeah, no, I actually started out PvEing in Guild Wars 2 for probably the first 2 years. I'd say I was pretty casual, and I did dungeons and fractals and open world stuff, and then I started getting more interested in World vs. World and PvP, and I pretty much completely left PvE behind. But I then when raids came out, I started doing raids as well, though I haven't done raids in a little while. Yeah, no, I've done everything.
So you're a broad spectrum gamer.
When it comes to Guild Wars 2, yeah.
So, why don't you tell me a little bit about your gaming history? So, how long have you been gaming generally?
I wouldn't consider myself a serious gamer, really until I started playing Guild Wars 2, I think. I played Guild Wars 1 for a while, but I played it really casually. I was in school and stuff that time as well, so I didn't have as much time as I do now. Or I didn't have as much, of a flexible schedule, I should say.
Yeah.
And I grew up playing console games, so Xbox games, Halo. I played a lot of Halo when I was growing up.
Playing on the
Call
Ring,
of Duty and stuff. A lot of shooters. Yeah. And I love those games a lot, but I was never really hardcore. I did multiplayer, but I wasn't like on a team or anything. Mostly just playing with some friends. But then when Guild Wars 2 came out, I started getting a bit more involved with guilds and stuff, and getting more involved in the community. And certainly the last 3 or so years, I'd say I've been really getting into that, and also like organizing tournaments and stuff, getting more interested in, not that Guild Wars 2 really has an esports scene, but I've been getting interested in like esports a bit more, going to some tournaments for other games and stuff. The
esports section is in dire need of some love, to say the least.
Yeah, well, I don't know that we're really ever going to see a full revival of the esports scene for Guild Wars 2. I wouldn't really bet on that, but there's still sort of some remnants of one, certainly with some of the PvP tournaments we have going on, at least. I
guess what they need to do is throw money at it. That's what people want in esports. They want tournaments, so.
Certainly that's the very first thing I think that people would look at when you're talking about esports. Yeah. Although I think a big issue they had previously was also the balancing. And so they need to make sure the balancing was on point. But that's a different conversation.
True. Now, before we head forward, people will want to know what you played in Guild Wars, the first campaigns, because they'll just want to know, and they'll ask you in the comments if you don't tell me here now, so...
I played everything in Guild Wars 1. I probably played Prophecies the most, to be honest, or maybe Hive of the North. I think my main profession probably was, I want to say either warrior or assassin. It's been so long, though, I have a bit of trouble remembering. But I think I probably spent the most time on warrior or assassin. And other than just doing the campaigns and stuff, I think probably the most PvP I did in that game was Jade Quarry. Yeah. And I definitely played assassin the most for that.
I loved doing Jade Quarry. I like to do the juggy running. That's what I like to do.
Yeah. No, it was a fun time. I loved Guild Wars 1. I mean, that was the first game that I probably invested the most time into, and it was the first MMO I really seriously played as well. I dabbled in World of Warcraft, but I never really got into that. And so yeah, it was a lot of fun. I enjoyed that game a lot, but I mostly stuck to playing campaigns for the most part in that game. I guess I was pretty casual sort of PvEer.
It had a really good storyline, which they've thankfully have kind of taken up the mantle with now with the new story that they're telling going forward, I think.
Yeah. I loved the story in Guild Wars 1. I really got into it. And yeah, I didn't love the storyline in Guild Wars 2 as much. Certainly not the personal story. I played it through once and then never really touched it again. And the living story they've started doing has been a lot better. Although I haven't done the most recent patches, so I can't really comment on that. But it has definitely gotten a lot better, I think, in the recent months. Certainly with Path of Fire, it's been a lot of fun.
So, so did you start playing the beta for Guild Wars 2, or did you join at some point after the game had launched in 2012?
I actually had Guild Wars 2 pre-ordered for like 3 years before it came out. It was it was a birthday present, you know, because I liked Guild Wars 1 so much. It was a birthday present. I mean, this was back when I was probably, I don't remember, like 15 or 16 or something, whenever this game came out.
You're making me feel old now, shush.
No, I'm not that young anymore. But yeah, no, it's I had the game pre-ordered for like 2 or 3 years because I think they kept pushing the release date back, I think, for a little while.
Yeah.
But yeah, I played a few of the betas. The problem was I had some issues with my PC at that time. Like my graphics card wasn't quite good enough to run the game at that point, so I didn't get to play it too much. And right when the game came out, I was not playing as much either because I had to sort those out. But I did play some of the betas the months leading up to the release, and I had the early access release and everything. So, can
you tell our listener the age of your character?
My oldest character.
/ age. Anyone you like.
Look at that. I have a warrior. Again, going back to that warrior that I'm pretty sure I've had since one of the first days. So this character I've played 2,218 hours over the past 2,050 days. And then my total account time, I have 8,151 hours.
Oh, wow.
Over the past 2,051 days. So this character is, I think I made on the second day of release. I do have 3 accounts, though, that I play on. So not all my time is on this account.
And do you play it between EU and US, or are you strictly US or strictly EU?
I actually, funnily enough, you can probably tell by my voice, I'm American. I live in the US, but I've played on EU the most, and I started out playing on EU as well.
What drove you to jump to EU?
A lot of so in Guild Wars 1, I was in a guild with primarily British people, and there were some other European people as well. But I sort of transferred from Guild Wars 1 to Guild Wars 2 with that guild. And they obviously picked a European server, and so I played on it. And as I said, in the beginning, I was just playing PvE, so as far as like guild raids go and whatnot, and PvP, obviously, with the latency issues, it wasn't as much of an issue for me since I wasn't really doing that. I was just PvE and again, sort of just running around, doing open world stuff, guild missions and stuff. I actually led guild missions for a while. Which was fun. And yeah, so it was okay for me to play on EU. Yeah, it was a good time. I mean, I love playing on EU. It's really cool to meet people from different countries and get to know more about different countries. I mean, I've honestly probably learned more about different countries playing this game than I would have in school or something. So
it's a really humanizing factor, isn't it? It's very interesting. Yeah. You meet everyone from everywhere, and you realize just how everybody is the same.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So what is the most epic thing that you've done in Guild Wars 2? So it can be like a very difficult achievement to get, or something personal, a personal achievement that you were just like blown away by.
Yeah. It would definitely have to be something that I've done. Well, it's kind of a hard question because there's a lot of different stuff that I've really loved doing, especially over the last 5.5 years or whatever. But
give me your top 5 things. Give me your top 5 things, right, so you don't have to.
Things, but... do you know anything about GVG?
Guild versus Guild.
Yeah. It's unofficial game mode and whatnot. But I was in a guild who we were the top guild on EU for a really long time, and sort of still are, although I'm not in the guild currently. And we, obviously we played on EU. It was all European players except for me. And so after essentially beating everyone on EU, we decided to go over to NA, which is something that has been done in the past. But it's obviously very difficult just because of time zones, and all the EU players are going to have a lot of ping. And so we ended up GVGing 3 different guilds on NA. and we lost to two of them. Unfortunately, we were able to beat one, but it was a really awesome experience. We stayed up for like 9 hours straight, basically GVGing. It was like 4 a.m. for some of the European guys. They were some of the most exciting and probably hardest guilds that we've had to fight. And it was a really nice experience as a group, sort of crossing over, going to fight the NA people, even though I am an NA, and you know. I don't know. It was a lot of fun. It was really epic, you know, and it brought a lot of hype to the scene in general across EU and NA, because a lot of people obviously were watching us as the EU champions go and fight the NA champions, basically. So it's always an exciting time when that happens. So I'd say that was probably the most epic moment I've had as far as GVG goes. But I also sort of on a more personal level. I cast a lot of like PvP tournaments. I've been doing the UGOs, and I also started on my own channel casting GVGs, and it's a lot of fun. I really like casting those. We did an NA GVG tournament in the past month, and the finals were really exciting for that. So I've really enjoyed casting those, and every time I do that, it kind of feels not necessarily epic every time, but it's really exciting. It's a nice experience, and I like reaching out to sort of more of the community by doing that as well.
So are these casts, are they a Twitch cast?
Yeah.
Okay.
So the UGO is the PvP tournament. If you know Jebro.
Yeah, I know Jebro.
Yeah, he organizes that, and there's 2 a month, one for EU, one for NA. Although we haven't done them the last few months. We were taking a break, but we shoutcast those together on his stream, and then on my stream I shoutcast GVGs myself.
Oh, that's.
And I've just recently this last year sort of started getting into casting, and it's never really something I expected to do, but I really enjoy it, and I feel like I'm okay at it. I would never say I'm amazing, obviously, and I haven't been doing it for that long either, so got a lot of work to do, but it's a lot of fun, and I really enjoy it.
It's a real talent. I was watching one of Jedbo's streams, and he was doing just some fractals, and he died, and so he ended up commentating the fractal, and it was just hilarious and brilliant. So it was great fun.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
I will make sure that there are links in the description and in a pinned comment below, so that everyone can jump to that Twitch channel and those streams, so you can get into the scene if you haven't heard of it before. So now that was your most epic thing, and it sounds like a fantastic epic campaign of turncoatery.
Yes.
Got a lot of hate from your fellow Americans. What's the most balls stupid thing that you've done in game though?
Oh boy.
Yeah.
There's a lot of stuff I've done stupid. Geez, it's kind of a hard question. I would say most likely. I mean, I don't really have a specific instance, but you know, I used to tag up for World vs. World a lot, so I would lead people in World vs. World, and I mean, there's been a lot of moments where I'll be leading, 60, 70 people, and obviously, most of the time, you're spending in World vs. World, or at least most of the time I spend in World vs. World, I'm looking to fight the other group, and so there'll be moments where, we're getting ready to fight the other group, and then I do something really stupid, like just push in one way or something, and I just instantly die in front of like 80 people. And that's definitely happened more than once. I'll say that. I don't specifically, for instances, but it's most people don't really care. You're having fun, and it's sort of something you just laugh off after a little bit. But yeah, that's probably definitely the stupidest things I've done, is just getting completely wiped or wiping my whole group, in World vs. World.
Don't worry, I've done that myself actually many moons ago in World of Warcraft when I was raiding. I managed to wipe the entire raid because I had a mini pet out, so don't worry.
Oh, nice.
Yes, epic fail. So how many characters do you have? Just a bit of information for our viewer.
On my main account, I have 13. I think on my second alt, I have, I think 7 or 8, and then my third alt, I think I have 6. I don't play all of those actively. I'd say I probably play maybe 4 or 5 somewhat actively on my main, and then like 2 or 3 on the other accounts. But I mean, I've used all of those at some point or other, and I mean, I've deleted a ton of characters on my main account.
Yeah.
I know some people are really against that, deleting characters. And funnily enough, a lot of the characters I've deleted have been level 80 as well. Actually,
No.
you know what? Here's the stupidest thing I've ever done. I've deleted not 1, not 2, but 3 characters with like 500 crafting. You know, I forgot about it, and then as soon as I deleted them, I was like, wait a minute, that was my weaponsmith. But yeah, I know, I've you know, I've played a lot of different classes and stuff.
Oh man, gosh, that is not good. That is not good.
Yeah.
I mean, all those characters, you're either a very dedicated Guild Wars 2 player or you're farming dies like a crazy person. So
Yeah.
yeah, handy tip for anybody: never delete old characters because you get the best die presence on them. What is your favourite profession build combo? I mean, obviously there's different play types, so we're going to focus on World v World here because we're trying to push out some interest in this least loved child of ArenaNet. So what's your favourite profession combo for World v World?
It would definitely be Guardian. And Guardian is the class that I've played the most in World vs. World. I think I basically played nothing but Guardian for 3 years. And Guardian has always basically had the same build for World vs. World. I mean, well, I shouldn't really say that because there are a lot of guilds that run different stuff, and certainly over the years it's changed. But the last 2 years, I'd say Guardian has mostly been a support class. So a support build is what you'd be running on that.
And what would you say to anybody who's wanting to jump in and start playing World v World on a Guardian? Is there any advice? I mean, you've obviously played it a heck of a lot. So is there anything kind of you wish that someone had taken you aside and told you this before you jumped in?
I think it partially depends on how seriously you want to play and sort of the way you want to play. So the one thing I will say about World vs. World is that there's so many different play styles and there's so many different ways of playing. And I myself have been, I'd say I consider myself more of a serious player. You know, I don't like sort of just jumping into World vs. World with like some random build and kind of just, you know, I like getting on comms, you know, I like getting on TeamSpeak or Discord with the person who's commanding. I like having a meta build, which I know a lot of people are anti-meta and stuff. But the most important thing I would say to anyone who's getting into World vs. World, and specifically, you know, if you want to play Guardian or whatever, is always ask questions. I think a lot of people are afraid to, and honestly, part of that is because I think a lot of times, you know, a lot of veteran World vs. World players have been not the most pleasant people to, you know, new players coming into World vs. World. But even if you ask a question and someone says, "Oh, that's just stupid," first of all, there's no such thing as a stupid question. But
I quite agree. Yeah.
If someone sort of shuts you down, just move past them, ignore them. Someone else will help you. There's a lot of people in World vs. World who are always happy to help.
Yeah.
And if you should never be embarrassed about not knowing what skills to use on a class, not knowing what traits to use on a class or whatever. And it's always better to ask than stay silent and not know.
I totally agree. In that vein, I mean, so I'm trying to shine a light on World v World in a little way on the channel, and I'd love to be able to get more sort of promotion and more light onto that game style because I personally enjoy playing it. But is there any other, like, is there a good place where a new player wanting to jump into World v World can go? So is there a good build site? Is there a good Twitch streamer other than yourself, of course, but which we will have all his links in the description down below. Is there anyone you would recommend? Anyone trying to get into the scene but just kind of a bit hesitant to go and watch so that they can kind of get the idea of the game style and get into the feel of it?
Yeah, absolutely. So as far as builds go, I would say Meta Battle is a good place to start. However, I know some of their builds are outdated at the moment, I think. So, you know, you can definitely, it's usually a good place to start as far as getting a basis for builds. And then the other place as well, there's basically every server is going to have a link. Not every server, but a lot of servers will have links to like a spreadsheet, or they'll have links in their server Discord or whatever for builds that the server uses. So, you know, you can, again, just ask in map chat or team chat or whatever, or ask your commander, you know, for the place, you know, where they have their builds linked and stuff.
So the first thing is join the Discord of your server. That's the first thing you'd recommend, right?
Even if you're not in a guild, even if you don't even if you don't play every day, even if you don't plan to tag up or get extremely involved in the community, it's always a good resource to have. And I mean, servers have been doing this since the game's been out. The servers used to have forums for every server. You used to have a TeamSpeak for every server. Now that Discord's come out, it's sort of more combined, which is really nice. Discord's been really good for servers. And I'm sure people, when they make alliances as well, when alliances come out, they'll be using Discord for that. So definitely try and join. There's always a lot of good resources. There's usually, you'll have links to Twitch streamers, you'll have links to build sites, you'll have links to guides for World vs. World, stuff like that.
And lots of chat rooms as well for people to jump in, and you can listen to what's going on and see if you like the company that you're in, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. And as far as other Twitch streamers besides myself goes, I would definitely say Gregor Payne, if you know who Gregor is. He streams, I think, more than anyone else streams World vs. World. He's definitely one of the most active, more than me as well. He's definitely one of the most active World vs. World streamers out there. He primarily plays in an A, although he does have an EU account. But I can give you a link to that if you want as well.
Please, yes, lots of links.
Yeah, I would definitely say he's the most active World vs. World streamer. But I mean, if you see anyone streaming World vs. World, I think you can usually go into their chat and ask them questions, and they'll be happy to talk to you.
Yeah, I mean, I have actually found that especially experienced Twitch streamers are very happy to answer questions, to answer substantive questions. So, would you recommend this? Would you recommend that? And they've all been super helpful to me when I've been noddying my way through trying to figure out what to do. So
yeah, absolutely, for sure, yeah.
Yeah. Now, you are a Twitch streamer. So, what drove you to do that? What kind of incentivized you to get streaming, get sort of like being a champion for the content?
Well, I've only really been streaming since I think around September of last year. So I haven't even been streaming for a year, and I took a pretty long break during the winter as well when I wasn't playing as actively. But the main thing that started me on streaming was that I just wanted a place for people, because the thing I've played the most, certainly the last couple of years, is GVG, and I wanted a place for people to come to learn about GVG, a place people could maybe get interested in GVG, a place where I could answer any questions, where I could show off GVG and stuff like that, because there really hasn't been, I think, a World vs. World streamer since, I don't know if you know who Kim Zorley is, or was rather.
No,
but
no.
He was a player who was really involved in the World vs. World community for a while, and he used to stream the raids that his guild, which was probably one of the most famous Guilders 2 guilds, probably the best. A lot of people would say the best guild that's ever played.
Give him a shout out then. Team Aggression.
Team
okay.
Aggression.
Aggression. Ah, right. Okay.
Yeah. And he used to stream all the raids, and it was just a really nice thing for the community, because it was a place that GVGers and World vs. World could go. They could hang out, they could chat. And there's a place for people who were trying to get into World vs. World and GVG. They could go and they could ask questions and stuff. So, I felt like that was lacking for a while, even though there were other streamers. Certainly not to bash any of them. I just felt like a lot of the people who were streaming World vs. World weren't as heavily into GVG, and I really wanted there to be a place that people could come and they could, again, just ask questions, get interested in the scene. Also, a lot of people have been telling me that I should stream for a while, just because of how involved with a lot of the different communities I was in, and how often there's actually a couple different videos that of me floating around somewhere, like getting hyped up for a GVG tournament that we did, and I think that sort of started a lot of the interest of me streaming off. People were like, "Oh, you need to make more videos, and put something out." And so eventually, I got into doing that. And then the last thing that sort of motivated me was Teapot. I started getting involved with his community and talking to him a lot more, and playing with him. I did some raids with him and just getting on his stream and stuff. And he really encouraged me to start streaming as well. He was really supportive, and he actually helped me set up my stream too. And he got into World vs. World as well. I think I sort of got him into World vs. World a bit, and so that was, it was really nice to have an experienced streamer help me out with that.
Yeah, I'm trying to nail him down. He's actually agreed to come and have a chat with me about World v World and Salt. And I've just got to nail the bugger down because he keeps avoiding me.
Yeah, he's really busy all the time. I mean, right now, I don't know if you know, he's streaming a raid, a PvE raid tournament. He has like 4K viewers or something, which is insane.
He's bonkers. But also, he is entirely lovely and entirely approachable. Yeah, so it's a lovely thing. Now you've got a bit of streaming under your belt. Is there anything that you would say to anyone who's thinking about streaming?
So, again, what I was saying before about, asking questions, asking for help, you should definitely ask for help from a more experienced streamer. Ask for any tips, help setting up the stream, whatever. But also, I think the most important thing, no matter what game you're streaming, and obviously Guild Wars 2 has less viewers than a lot of different games, when it comes to Twitch. So, I would say, when I started streaming, I wasn't trying to stream, to get thousands of viewers or something. I wasn't doing it to make money or to make a living or anything. I was doing it because I wanted to get people interested in GVG and stuff.
Yeah.
So I would say just, your viewer count, maybe that's important to you, and obviously that's fine. You should care about that, but that shouldn't be everything to you. I would say, certainly when it comes to this, and I think just honestly grind. I mean, if people see you streaming every day or a few times a week, on a regular sort of schedule, and they see you invested in the game, they see you that you're passionate about what you're streaming, they'll keep coming back and they'll keep, watching your stream and talking in your chat and getting involved in your chat and with you and stuff. So just keep at it, honestly. I mean, and I think that goes for any game. It doesn't really matter what you're streaming. That goes for every streamer, really. It's just keep on streaming, don't stop just because maybe one day you have less viewers than you did the day before or something.
I can't agree more. I mean, as a content creator myself, I make the content because I enjoy doing it. To make a living out of this business, you have to be cutie pie, and I am definitely not him.
Yeah, it's a really hard thing to do.
Yeah.
To make a living out of streaming or playing video. I mean, it's such a huge marketplace. There's so many people that do it now. It's really easy, honestly, to set a stream up and start streaming. You
Absolutely.
don't need a lot to do it.
There are tutorials on YouTube, OBS for the win. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Free is good.
Just stream what you're interested in, stream what you want to do, and there will be people who like that same thing that will come watch your stream.
Yeah.
And just keep with it.
Yeah.
That's what it really grinds down to, I think.
Yeah, do it because you love it and because you want to have fun. And if anything comes of it, it's a good thing. And if nothing comes of it, you're still having fun. You're super focused on GVG. Now, we all know that the landscape in World v World is going to be changing dramatically. And it's still kind of up in the air as to what's going to happen. But are you hoping that this is going to really lay the groundwork so you can have proper GVG tournaments so that you can spread your player base as well, increase the player base with the alliances going forward?
Well, the alliances aren't really going to have any effect on GVG, at least not with the information that we have now, or it shouldn't really, because it's not going to, it's not going to give guilds a new place to GVG in. It's not going to give guilds a way to spectate, for tournaments and stuff for GVGs. So
it's a shame.
Right. A lot of what GVG is dependent on now, well, I mean, everything that GVG is dependent on now is support from ArenaNet, because that's the only thing that we haven't had, and it's the only thing that really matters.
Yeah.
And it's, I'm not trying to bash ArenaNet. That's not what I came to do. But everything that GVG has done, everything that we've accomplished with GVG, I'd say over the last 5 years, has been 100% community driven.
Yeah.
All the tournaments are 100% community driven. We haven't had any support from ArenaNet. There was a NA tournament that did have some gem codes supplied by ArenaNet, a GVG tournament. So I can't say there was literally never any support, but ArenaNet hasn't been involved with organizing the tournaments. They haven't been involved with any sort of hosting on Twitch or anything.
Yeah.
And again, not bashing ArenaNet. It's just that's what's holding GVG back more than anything else. I've organized four GVG tournaments. I think 4 in the past couple of years. And I've streamed the NA one. I've casted two of the EU ones, and I played in one of the EU ones. Well, I played in two of the EU ones, really. You know, it's a ton of fun. It's what I've enjoyed playing the most in Guild Wars 2 for sure.
Yeah.
But the biggest issues definitely are just there isn't really a proper area to do it in for guilds, and again, it's so difficult to run a tournament with it because again, there's no way to spectate, and I think that's something that holds GVG back a lot because for someone who doesn't really know how GVG works at all, and even for people who do, it's not the most pleasant thing to watch a GVG from sort of the outside because that's how you have to stream it because you can't spectate the specific players like you do in PvP.
If you were given Game God sort of status for a day and you could reshape World v World and Guild v Guild, what would you do? What would you want them to do?
Right off the bat, so do you know what the Obsidian Sanctum is?
Yes.
It's the jumping puzzle, right? In World vs. World.
Pretty much.
So
that's what it is. Yeah.
Yeah, that's where guilds GVG'd the most for a really long time.
Yeah.
There was an arena sort of place there. The problem is that's matchup dependent, so you can't fight any guild that isn't in your matchup, and so that really heavily limits it. So I would make Obsidian Sanctum instanced, kind of like how the Guild Hall Arena is instanced.
Yeah.
And so that's what guilds have been using to GVG in the last couple of years. Is that arena? The problem with that arena is it's a PVE instance. It uses the PVE rule set. And that's really bad for GVG because obviously it's a World vs. World based mode. So I'd make Obsidian Sanctum instanced with World vs. World rule set, and I'd add a spectator mode for it, so that you can spectate. So just implement the PvP spectator mode.
Yeah.
And I am by no means a programmer or some sort of game developer, so I would have absolutely no idea how to do any of that, and I had absolutely no idea the resources it would take to do that. I mean, I have to assume that's why Arena hasn't done it. It's too resource intensive or whatever. But if I could just choose anything, it would be Instance OS, bring spectating into World vs. World, so you could really support GVG tournaments like that.
Wow. No, that sounds fascinating. Yeah, I mean, I've been to Obsidian Sanctum, and I've got many people through that jumping puzzle, which is a complete ball ache, and. I got my mother-in-law through there, which was a night I never want to repeat again. She was wonderful, but honestly, I was hanging on by a thread by the end. And I always felt like it was such a beautiful, interesting area that they never did anything with. Yeah. Yeah,
I've done that jumping puzzle a lot. And I mean, of course, the jumping puzzle doesn't really have any bearing on GVG, but yeah, it's a pretty cool place. It's a fun thing to do.
It just seems like it's a beautiful environment that they're not utilizing.
Yeah. For sure.
So I would love to see that happen. What about World v World in itself? Because I mean, even with all the big new map that people were kind of had mixed reviews. The
Desert Borderland?
Yeah. Do you think that alliances will help the general World v World gameplay?
So a lot of what I think people have been saying. So first of all, I do just want to real quick. The Desert Borderland. The release was really bad. However, they made a lot of changes since then that I think makes the Desert Borderland pretty good. And I think we needed a new map. So I think overall it was a good thing. And I applaud ArenaNet for making a new map and whatnot for World vs. World. Regardless of I prefer Alpine, but still I think Desert Borderland. It's a beautiful area. I mean. They did a really nice job designing it. But as far as alliances coming out, a lot of people have been saying that alliances aren't going to change anything, and I disagree.
Yeah.
But population balance has and probably will always be the biggest issue for World vs. World as a whole. Certainly, in my opinion, I think the World vs. World developers agree on that. It's one of the hardest issues to solve. Bandwagoning, stacking one server. Has always been a problem, and it's very difficult to stop that from happening.
Yeah.
And I think that alliances are definitely a better system than what we have now, and it will improve things overall. However, I think that's almost entirely community dependent. I think it's very dependent on the player base, not ArenaNet.
Yeah.
Because after they implement alliances, I think it's up to the player base to really avoid that same behavior that we had before, which is stacking one server and making the community very, very split instead of sort of working together to make World vs. World better. So yes, alliances will be a very positive change to World vs. World, but it's also going to depend a lot on how the player base works with it and how they work with ArenaNet.
So I mean, I know that that my guild, my little bunch of PvE tree hugging newbie Care Bears, we're actually starting an alliance with a load of other guilds. And I was wondering, what are your plans? What are you guys doing at the moment? Is there any alliance I can plug for you? Is there anything that I can link to down below if people are wanting to join you guys?
Well, so right now, I'm not raiding, so I'm not in a guild at the moment. I'm planning to make a guild and lead it, which I haven't done for a really long time. I've mostly been following other raid leaders and stuff. So I'm planning to make a guild on an A. Most likely in A. Probably sometime around June, around summertime, maybe a little bit earlier. And I'll definitely be involved with alliances on an A when they come out. I don't know that I will lead an alliance necessarily, because I'll probably be more focused on leading my guild. However, on a U, and again, this is where my several accounts are going to come in handy. I definitely have plans to make. Not necessarily, again, lead, but certainly be involved with 2 different alliances on EU, which would be an alliance with Teapot. I think we'll try and stay together and continue to play World of World together with his group of people and anyone who I'm playing with on EU. And then there's a second group of people I play on EU with a lot, which are the Vabby server, and a lot of people on Vabby who I'll probably end up trying to make an alliance with. Obviously, Teapot, he took a bit of a step back, kind of similar to how I did from World of World, just while we're waiting for alliances to come out and see what the changes are going to be like that.
Yeah.
But definitely shout out to Teapot. He did a lot with the World World community the last few months, and I enjoyed playing with him a lot. So his guild is Salt.
Yeah,
I don't know exactly. I don't know if he'll be doing or making the alliance with Salt or not. He might make a different guild for that. And then the group I play with on Vabby, there's a lot of different people I play with on Vabby, but definitely one of the biggest groups would be Easy.
Yeah.
Which is bombing here, bombing there, and they're sort of they're sort of a combination of a community guild, but they also do raid sometimes. They have smaller sort of closed raids that they do on Vabby. But a lot of the players there are people that have been playing since release. There's a lot of really experienced raiders, a lot of really experienced commanders in that group. Just a really great group of players that I've been playing with for the last couple of years, and I want to continue to play with them. So.
Oh, that's lovely.
Yeah.
When you do get your guild all up and running, please do come back and have a chat with us about it, and we'll do a recruitment. Well, I doubt you'll need a recruitment drive, but we'd love to help you.
I appreciate that. Thanks. Yeah, I don't know necessarily what I'm going to call it yet. There's a lot of different ideas. Again, I probably won't be active for probably almost 2 months still. But yeah, I missed leading, and I wanted to get back into it, and I wanted to play on an A. And lead on an A a bit instead of on a U, since that's what I've been doing for a really long time. So, it'll be nice to get back into it.
Is there anything that you'd like to shout out or like to say before we close off the interview?
Well, thank you very much for having me. For sure, it's been a pleasure. I really appreciate what you're doing. I think it's a great idea. I think trying to reach out to the World of World community is awesome. Not enough people do it.
Yeah.
I do want to echo what I said before slightly, which was just, if you're interested in World vs. World, you're interested in getting into GVG, definitely look into that. Go check out some streams, go follow some open tags or whatever, get involved in the community, because what drove me to World vs. World more than anything else was the community. And I know that there's a lot of communities in PvE, and obviously, a lot of the big PvE guilds, they do guild missions and they do, open world events and all this stuff. But I felt, just personally, I really enjoyed the community aspect of World vs. World and sort of the organization it can take to really make World vs. World, or be really good at World vs. World. So that really attracted me a lot to it. So make sure to get involved with that if you want to, because it's so much more fun than I think playing on your own.
Oh, absolutely. What I would say actually is, for people who like the idea of doing PvP but are scared of that kind of toxic environment, Wolvie World is nothing like that. It's not. I mean, yeah, there are a few bad apples.
I don't want to say it's perfect.
It's
there's
not
definitely. Yeah.
Nothing's perfect.
There are some people who, as I said before, they're who are anti-PvE and stuff, but again, you just got to move past those guys and ignore them. I mean,
yeah, that's what the ignore button was made for.
Yeah, in the same vein, there's definitely PvEers who are anti-World vs. World, who who will shut you down for being a world versus world player. So you have that in every game mode, in every game. You just got to move past them. And there's plenty of people who are willing to help you and willing to take the time to make sure you have a fun time in world versus world. And there's just so many different types of people and types of ways to play world versus world. So it's a really great place, I think, to get into.
It's all the fun of an organized group, like a raid, like a PvE raid, with all the competitiveness of a player versus player environment, and a beautiful, massive maps, massive, interesting objectives to take, and a sense of community, and you're guarding your land. It's fun. It's a great mode. It's a shame that it doesn't get as much love as it deserves.
I completely agree. Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for coming and chatting, and I hope that we can do it again.
Yeah, anytime. I'd be more than happy to come by. And again, thank you for having me. Thank you for doing this, and good luck to everything in the future. Good luck to whatever you move on to and do again.
So that's the end of the interview. I hope you enjoyed it. There will be more World v World interviews coming soon. I want to give a shout out to Ken Snyder and Craig, my angelic patrons, as well as all the wonderful people who support my channel. Without their kindness, I would not be able to do what I love, and I can never thank them all enough. Now, if you are thinking of joining the Guild Wars 2 community, there are referral links below to the free-to-play game, the Heart of Thorns expansion, and the Path of Fire expansion 2. Thanks to the generosity of ArenaNet and their partner program, using these referral links directly supports my channel. Now, the next interview coming up on the channel will be with Feyre, a content creator and dedicated role player. So if you're thinking about getting into the RP scene, do click that bell so you don't miss our deep dive into that. I hope you will join me again, but until then, thanks for watching.